Hey, I can see you. Okay.
Okay, it's back
I'm not
now.
sure why the camera's not working.
I can see like your screensaver of the cat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you see me though?
Yes, I can.
Okay, cool. Now, sorry about that different link. We just like there was a little glitch there. Okay, so I'm gonna start uh, some advanced for loop questions and while loop questions today. With like practice multiple choice exams and questions. So let's start off by doing a quick coding practice, and then we can do some of the questions together. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna share my screen with you. Cool. So let's go over um, okay, so I want to be able to print this. So this is going to be my hair, like just.
They can hear you, you know that? No, sorry, my stepsister's doing her like homework near me and she's like really loud.
No problem. Okay, so let's write a program so that we can um, be able to print 5 lines, and in each line we increase the number of stars by 1.
Okay.
So let's start writing that. And how do you think we would start that?
So you're just adding the number of stars?
Yeah, so we're going to go through and print out a star on each line, but every line will have one more than the one before it.
Oh, okay, you would use, wouldn't it be a while loop?
Okay, sure. Do you want to try using a while loop?
Yeah, like we just kind of started it today, but I was at one of the little calls last week and we meant, I forgot who, but mentioned while loops and how it's like kind of like continuous. If you're like continuously adding a star, it's convenient.
Yeah, so I think that's a good idea. But in this case, I know that I'm going to only print 5 lines, right? And
Oh, yeah, then you'd
so,
use the other kind.
yeah, so that's like a difference between when to use a for loop and when to use a while loop. If you know how many times you're going to do something and like before you stop, then the best thing to do is actually use a while loop. Because in the use a for loop. Because in the for loop, you can specify when to stop, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can specify your end condition.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we were to use a for loop, how would we write that for loop?
So we do for parentheses int I
Okay.
equals 0,
Okay.
semicolon, then I is greater than 5, less than 5.
Less than 5, yeah. Okay, so what does I represent?
It's like the index. So like goes like time we're going to go for each line, we're gonna print a star.
Okay, so does I represent the star you're printing or the line that you're on?
The line rod.
Okay, sure. What next?
Then I plus plus.
Okay, cool. So now what do I do? What's going to be the body of my for loop?
So you can do like I have no idea.
I want to say you like put strings in, right?
Yeah, so yeah, the star is going to be a string. You're right.
Yeah.
So would I do something like, if I just want to print the star, would I do system.print star?
Could you use a conditional?
Okay, what would the condition be?
Um,
Yeah, that's a thought. Yeah, what are you thinking?
let's see. I don't. Okay, well, you could put if. I actually don't know. Or okay, if the index is 0, um, you could do like print star, and then you could have it repeat until I don't really know.
Okay,
'Cause
you're
I
thinking
don't
the
know.
right way for sure. We want to repeat like the body of our for loop, right?
Yeah.
Line. So let's think about where this starts. It starts at line 0, so like the first line. And in the first line, we want to print how many stars? 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I were to just do something like this, how many stars would that print? Like, what would happen right now?
It would just print out 1 star.
Yeah, it would print out 1 star 5 times, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I want to be able to,
Oh.
what are you thinking?
Wouldn't you have to make it like, because you have the where it has like the index and then you have the like the 2 pluses. So wouldn't you have to make it like print out the index like increasing?
Yeah, I think you have the right idea. So, Naomi, before you said that I represented the line number, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we know the line number we're on, how do I know how many stars I need to print in that line?
We just like print just 1 because the system that out print line.
Yeah, so in this case, I would only print 1. But when I is, for instance, so I want to print 1 when I is 0, right? So this is the
Yeah.
first line. I is 0, right?
Yeah. Then
So what happens in the next line? What is I now?
1.
Okay,
Yeah.
I is 1. I is 2.
Right.
And I is 4, right?
Yeah.
So how many?
Like adding 1 from like the previous one.
Yeah, we're adding 1 from the previous one. You're right. Let's actually, I think it would make more sense, or like it makes more sense if I refer to this as line 1
Yeah.
instead of line 0. So if we wanted to change that in our for loop, how would we do that?
Oh, we
Just
do
change
if
it to
I
1.
equals 1.
Okay, so what do I change this to?
0 to 1.
And then how do I change this?
To 6, right?
Okay, to 6, or I can do something, I can do like less than or equal to 5.
Okay.
Isn't that's the same thing, right? So this would go until I equals 5.
Yes.
Or you could do I is less than or equal, I is less than 6. You're totally right.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that case, this would be I is 1, I is 2, right? Okay, cool. So how do I print this star I? So like I want to print on line 1 when I equals 1, I want to print it 1 time. When I is 2, I want to print it 2 times.
So couldn't you just make a bunch of if statements? Like if line 1 print 1 star, if line 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Or could you use a switch case?
I could use, okay, so if a switch case would be like my cases would be if I equals 1, print 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so that works in this case because we're dealing with very small numbers. We're only doing it for 5 cases.
Mhm.
But imagine if I wanted to scale this and make this 1,000, like I is less than or equal to 1,000. Having like 1,000 cases isn't like the most efficient thing to do.
Could you use chars?
What do you mean?
Okay, I kind of want to. I think you could use chars, but I don't really understand chars all that much.
Okay.
So never mind. Just an idea.
So we know like the first slide has 1 star.
Yeah.
Can we just do like to get the first slide? So that would be like I bracket, not bracket, but like how do you like reference the first slide? So we can put star, then we can do I plus. Then we can go to the next slide and just do I plus plus. Just add another one.
Yeah, how do we do that? So maybe you want to say like print star I number of times. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
How would I do that?
And wouldn't you just print like that? Just have like that plus 1.
+1. Oh, from the previous line?
Yeah.
But can I do that in this just one for loop? So let's see what happens. Let's like visualize what happens with this. Okay, so can you guys see this? Yeah.
Yeah, I can see.
Yes, I is 1.
I is 1.
We print 1 star, right?
Yeah.
I is 2. What happens now? What do you think is going to happen?
Of course, the next slide's gonna put a star.
Okay, 1 star.
And the next slide's gonna put a star. The next slide's gonna put a star. Okay.
Cool. So we're able to print a star on each line, which is like partially of the way there, right?
Yeah.
So let's go back to this. So if we were able to print 1 on each line, how do we get it to print? Like you said, like it's +1 from the line before, but I don't know how to access that line before using 1 for loop.
Could you store like loops inside of loops?
Yes, you can. What? What do you mean by that?
Well, let's see. I actually don't know. I was just curious, and I feel like that might be an idea, but I don't really know how to make that something useful.
Have any of you guys done something called nested loops?
Oh, isn't that when you like you make it's like you assign values to a loop? Is that what it is?
It's what you said before. It's like doing a loop inside of a loop.
Oh, okay, that's what that's called.
Have you done that, Naomi?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just learned the definition tag today. Even we
Okay,
started.
yeah, you did that too. So can you tell me what a nested for loop is?
Well, I only used it in like the context of like a 2-dimensional array when I transverse the columns and rows, but I don't know about this one though.
Yeah. So the idea of doing it, like, can you explain how you would do it in the context of a 2D array?
So you would make like the first loop to transverse the rows because that's the things that are accessible to you, and then you would make another one to access the columns because then you just go down there.
Okay. So does that so for the first for loop for that? So like just I'm gonna comment underneath here. So if my first, like you said, for 2D arrays.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so in a 2D array, the first for loop is 4 rows.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do, how would that look like? So it's like 4 int I.
Equals 0.
Okay.
Let me call it, and let's say like your array was A.
Okay.
So you do I is greater than A dot length.
Or less than a.
I'm sorry. I was getting A dot length. Semicolon I plus plus.
Okay.
Then you would make another for loop.
Okay.
That would be 4 int I equals 0. Well, wherever it starts. So you can make like a J or something. So like then after I is greater than, less than A bracket 0 dot length.
Like this.
Yeah.
Okay. I plus plus. And then what would the body of this look like?
It would just be like wherever you wanted to do with the array. If you want to transverse it or like switch like around stuff. So yeah, that's what.
This is so but if I were to use the variable I in here, which one does it refer to? Does it refer to the first for loop or the outer one?
The outer one.
But you're using I in the inner one too.
Oh, do we need different variables then?
Exactly. So that's a good thing with nested for loops. You need 2 different variables to refer to the 2 different loops you have.
Yeah.
Okay, so how would you fix this?
I'll probably make it J.
Yeah, okay, let's do J, and then J,
Then J plus plus.
and then J plus plus. So J, this refers to the rows,
Yeah.
and this refers to the columns, right?
Yeah.
So, for instance, if this is my array, I have 5 rows, and I have I have 3 rows and 5 columns, right?
Yeah.
What is the first I, like, which one is the first I refer to?
The first I would go to like the top X, yeah.
Okay,
Top
yeah. It refers to this one, right?
And then after that, it will go to that row, which is row 0, and column, like the 0 column as well.
Mm-hmm.
Then it would go to like downward.
It would go down. Okay.
And then it will keep going down, then it will go to the next column. It will be like traversing the rows, and then after that, will go to the next column afterwards.
So isn't this the first column?
Yeah, but it's referred to as like column 0, or like A0.
Yeah, so is I the columns or the rows?
I is the row, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Then
So,
J is the
does that make sense to you guys? Sort of? Okay, so like,
Yeah, we haven't we haven't even talked about loops kind of yet. So arrays are kind of, so like what do you use arrays for?
or like in this case, we're talking about going through an array, going through a 2D array. So the idea of using double for loops is that, like, while I is 0, J can take on a whole different number of things inside of I when I is 0.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like for instance, like I is 0, but J can be 0. So if I is 0, it's over here, but J can be 0, 1, or 2, while I is still 0. And then I can move on to 1, and then J would be 0, 1, or 2 again.
Okay.
So like you have 2 indexing variables.
It's
So yeah. So if we go back to our example,
good. So if the nested for loop is a good idea, where are we going to start it though? The second one.
yeah, where would we start the second one? So we said the first one, so it's saying I is equal to the number of lines, or I is the number of the lines that we're on, right?
Yeah.
So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So remember we said, like, what else do we need to take into account at each line, the number of stars?
We need to add like number of like the previous one. So line 1, we have to add another one for line 2. Then the second line, add another one to that for line 3.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So instead of like relying on like the previous one, we can assign a different variable to be the number of stars in the line. So we can assign 2 different variables because there's 2 different things that are changing each time. One is going to be the line that we're on, and the second one is going to be the number of stars we have per line.
All right.
So say we were to have a J variable, what do you think, like, what would that J variable be? You found it!
I guess the J will be like just like the repeated star, like keep on
Yeah,
adding.
exactly. Yeah, how many stars per line?
Yeah.
So like J and I are going to work very directly with each other, right? Because J is dependent on I. Like the number of stars
right?
we print is dependent on the line we're on. If we're on line 1, we print 1. If we're on line 2, we print 2.
Precisely. Yeah.
Okay, so the whole idea behind that is you're storing like a value within like a variable, so it could like be in a loop, kind of.
Yeah, exactly, totally. So in the first for loop, what variable we're storing is the line we're on. So inside, like once we're on line 1, the reason we do this one first is because we need to know what line we're on. So once we are at line 1, we're gonna print 1 star. But as soon as line is 2, we want to print this 2 times.
Okay.
So let's think about how we'd write this. So if I do 4
So
int,
int
what
j,
variable would I use?
j,
Okay. 4 int j equals,
would it equal? It would have started at 0 or like 1 was to equal I, right? Because you know what line we're on.
wait, what? I didn't hear you, sorry.
Would it be I? Because we used to know what line we're on.
Yeah,
How many stars?
okay, let's do I. If we do I, that tells us what line we're on. And then what would j be less than? Or what would the condition be?
It will be less than 5.
Okay. Less than or equal to or less than?
Less than or equal to.
Okay.
Equal to.
And then what would the increment be or decrement be?
Plus plus.
Sure, let's try that.
Let's try
Okay, so then inside this for loop, so inside this for loop, I would print star. Does that sound right?
that. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see what happens there. Okay, right, so I'm gonna move forward. Can you see the screen yet? Cool. So I is 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's j gonna be?
What did you say?
So when I is 1, right now that's the step we're on, we're in this step. What is j
Okay.
gonna be?
It's gonna be 1.
Okay, j is gonna be 1, and we're gonna print it 1 times, right?
Yeah.
And now what happens to j? Like, so like, after you finish the body, which for loop does it go back to?
The first one.
The most recent one, right? The one right above it.
Yeah. The
Because it's gonna check, hey, is j still less than or equal to 5? Like, I can be 1, but j is gonna change. So let's see exactly what happens. Yeah, right, so j became 2.
J equals 2. And then
Okay. So then what do I print?
the star.
Okay, cool. So then I go back, what is j gonna be now?
3.
Okay. We're gonna print it a 3rd time, and then j is gonna be,
4.
yeah. And we print the star once more, and then j is gonna be,
5.
okay. And we print the star a 5th time. So now what happens?
So it still just prints a line of stars.
Yeah, but what happens exactly now? So j was 5, right? So is it gonna enter this for loop again?
I will because equals 5.
Oh, yeah, you're right. No, it equals 6 now, right? So it's not gonna enter.
So it's not gonna enter, yeah.
So, Daniela, what do you think's gonna happen?
I mean, it just stops, right?
Yeah, so it stops this for loop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does it, like, what's the next thing in the code? Is it gonna exit the code entirely?
I think it just won't let you like add anything else. I don't know, like that's usually what happens when I like I don't know, when I'm using it, it just kind of stops. Or if I tried to insert anything, it'll just say like error or something.
Okay, but in this case, we have another for loop right above us, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Naomi, what do you think's gonna happen?
So I guess it's gonna go back to the first for loop.
Yeah, so if we go back to the first for loop, what's gonna change?
I.
And what will I become?
2.
2, exactly. Let's see that.
Oh.
So we go back up here, right?
Yeah.
And I becomes 2.
So what's our output gonna be? It's gonna be a star.
So then we go back into the second for loop. And then what is J going to be?
2?
Yeah, because we said J equals I. So J just becomes 2.
Yeah.
And then it's going to print 2 stars? Or it's going to print 1 star? It's going to print 1 star.
1 star.
We just printed it again. So do you get how that works, though? Do you get how,
Yeah, I get it.
it's a little bit confusing. So like, you can think about the body of this first for loop to be the second one.
Okay, so then you have the second for loop, and then the second for loop is what allows you to print out up to 5 stars,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly. So this is the body of both for loops, but the J, the second for loop, will finish to completion, and then it'll go back to the for loop that it's in.
Okay, so it's the first for loop, and then in order for it to print any other stars, it'll go to the second for loop and then go back to the first one, and then kind of just move down and increase the number of stars pretty much.
Yeah. So
Okay.
what we saw what happened with our nested for loop was that it still printed 1 in each line, right?
Yeah.
So remember we said J is going to be the number of stars in each line?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's dependent on I. So we want to print like 1 star, but I number of times.
Yeah, okay.
So how do we, I'll give you a hint. You have to change your inner for loop conditions. So think about how you'd make this double for loop work for line 1. So in line 1, right, I is 1. Correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we entered the second for loop.
So what are we trying to do again?
We're trying to print per each line, we're trying to print. This is like a pyramid, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're trying to print like 1 more for star per line.
Okay, so we want to add an additional star to all of the lines.
Yeah, above. I want to add the star to the line before it. So line 4 has 4 stars. Line 5 will have 1 more than that.
Okay, so
So if we let's change what we have written here. So if we want J, so for line 1, right?
yeah.
So I tells us the line we're on. So we enter this for loop with I equals 1.
Oh, would you do J plus 1? Or J is equal to I plus, okay, so I is equal to J, or J is equal to I,
Okay.
that's equal to I plus 1. I've seen that before. It's
Yeah, you're definitely on the right track, for sure. So you say J equals I. So if J equals I, it's going to print 1 star. And then, say I was 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
J
J will be 2.
Well, J would be 2, but how do we make it print 2 stars though? It's still going to print 1. This is our print can only print 1 at a time. But you want to print 1 at a time 2 times. So you want to print it once, and then you want to print it twice.
Would you use slashes?
What do you mean? Yeah. Keep going.
I saw a problem once. I used slashes so it could keep printing things next to each other. I actually don't know where I'm going with that.
Quick thing. Instead of print line, should I be using print?
Yeah, just use print.
Why should I use print instead of print line?
So it doesn't put, because you want it to be, well, actually, I don't know.
The print line, the difference between system.out.print, the difference between this and this is that this will print it on the same line, and this will print it on the, like, it'll print a new one on each line.
Okay.
So in this case, we want to print more than one on each line.
Mm-hmm.
So let's use print. But I think we're getting somewhere. So if we want to print one time, so remember in our for loop, let's say that let's keep spaces. So this is going to be the initial condition. This is going to be the end condition. This is going to be the increment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we want to increment j by 1 each time, we know that part, right?
Yeah.
What? So
We just do j equals 1,
okay, j equals 1.
just because, like, when it's the first line, it'll have 1 star.
Oh, would it be j equals 1 plus I?
J equals 1 plus I. So that's when we stop.
Huh?
Is that so? Like that's what we're writing, right? We're writing the stop condition now.
Yeah, because you're a stop, like, it's always going to be, like, 1 plus, like, it'll always be 1 more.
Then I, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's how you. Okay. So we'll stop when j is equal to I. Do you want to do like less than or equal to I plus 1?
Okay.
Right? 'Cause, yeah. Right. So like that's what usually how you write like your stop conditions.
Okay.
Okay. So if we do, this is how you use like you're using your first looping variable inside your second for loop. Because they're dependent on each other, right? Remember we said j is dependent on the line we're on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see what happens now. Let's visualize this. Okay. Sorry, I'm going to zoom out. Okay. No, okay. So let's go to the first step. So I is 1. And then what is j going to be?
1.
Okay. And it's going to enter the for loop?
Yeah.
Does it enter the for loop? Yeah, let's go. Let's go in the for loop. So j is 1, and then we're going to print. How many times do you expect it to print?
I expect 2 times because of I plus 1.
Yeah, I plus 1, so it's going to print 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens now? Does it enter this for loop again?
Yeah.
It does? Or like what is j after we did it once? J is now 2, right?
Yeah.
So it's not going to enter the for loop because 2 is not less than 2.
Yeah.
So if we don't enter this for loop, where do we go next?
Back. Are we going to still the j equals 1 for loop?
Are we still, so we just decided that the j plus 1 for loop, like it doesn't enter this because j is now 2?
Oh, it goes back to the first for loop, and then it works its way to the J1. Like, it goes, right?
Exactly, yes, that's awesome. So now if we go back up to the first for loop, when I was 1, what do you think I will be after?
I will be 2, and then it'll just go through the exact same cycle, but throughout the entire, like, program, I is just changing, which is why the stars increase.
Exactly, yes. So I is 2, right? I became 2, you saw that?
Mm-hmm.
And now what will j be this time?
Well, J would be 2, and then
It would-
you would add 1, and it would print out 3 stars, right?
Well, remember we said every time we enter this for loop, we said j starts at 1. So j would be 1.
Oh,
Because that's what we wrote in our for loop. We said that J resets to, like, think of it as resetting. Every time you go back up into the I for loop, the next time you go into J starts again. Like J starts over at 1.
Well, in the second for loop, we have it set up to where if I is greater than J, you would add 1. So if I is 2 and it is greater than J, because J is always 1, then you would add 1, which would be an additional star, which is why it would print with an additional 1, right?
Sort of, yeah. So let's see what happens. I
Okay.
think you're definitely thinking in the right direction. So J is 1. Do we get Y? Then do you get Y?
what?
Okay. Let me know if you guys don't.
Okay.
Okay, so J becomes 1. And then we're going to print 1 time.
Yeah.
Okay, it printed on the same line, right?
Yeah. Is that because we have print and we don't have print live?
Yeah, so we can fix that. But let's see what happens. So now what is J going to be? It printed once. J was 1.
I'm sorry, what?
So J was 1, right? And we printed the second asterisk. So now what is J going to be after, like in the next iteration of the for loop?
2.
That'd be 1.
Yeah, 2, exactly, yeah. So because I, remember we said I is 2, right?
Yeah.
I is 2, so this condition reads, we keep doing the second for loop until J is less than I plus 1. So until J is less than 2 plus 1, which is until J is less than 3. So we're going to run this for loop 3 times.
Okay.
So does that make sense, right? Because I is going to get bigger every time. Like after, like I is going to start off at 1, and it's going to go 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're, and in the second for loop, J always starts at 1. So J is dependent on I. So when I gets bigger, like you're going to do the second for loop
So
more time, like one more time each time. What?
shouldn't J get smaller because we wanted to just like go? Well, I is getting bigger. That's the number of lines. Number of lines we print should get smaller. Number of stars.
The number of stars we print is exactly correlated to the number of lines, right? So remember we said like on line 2 you're printing 2 stars.
Yes.
So it stays the same. Like it gets bigger with I. So when I is 3, you want to print 3 stars. When I is 4, you want to print 4 stars.
Okay.
So it stays the same. So if we always start J at 1 and we keep going until we keep making J go until I plus 1, it correlates exactly like with the line number we're on. So if we were to keep going, so J was 1 and now J is going to be 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, J is 2, and then we go down and we print this star once more. Great. And now J is going to be 3.
3. And then it goes back to the first 4.
Exactly, yeah. It goes back to the first one. Which kind of makes sense, right? So in the first time, when I was 1, we printed 1 star. And then when I was 2, we printed 2 stars. Which is what we want to do, right? It's exactly
Yeah.
So now we're going to go back up to the first one, right? Like the first for loop.
Mm-hmm.
And what is I going to be?
3.
Okay. Yeah, I is 3. And then we go back. What happens next?
And then you go to the second for loop, and J would be 1.
Okay. And how many times will J run now this time?
It would run 3 times before it goes back to the first 4.
Yeah, and exactly. And that's exactly what we wanted to do, right? We wanted to print the star, like the number of times, like the number, like the current like line that we were on. So with every increase of the line, with every next line we go on, we print J once more, which is exactly the pattern that you guys noticed in the beginning.
Okay.
So the one difference in the way I wanted you to write this and the way we wrote this is that it doesn't do a new line. So what do you think we can do to fix it?
Can we do like outside of the inner for loop, we do another system.print and we do line?
So outside of the inner for loop, so here, right?
Yeah, just do like system.out.print line. And then just do parentheses.
Or like print an empty one?
Oh, you don't have to do the quotation. I don't think you need like the quotation marks, but I feel like this will go to a no line.
So what do you think? What is it? So this line is not in the in the inner for loop, but it is in the outer for loop.
Yeah, so
Do you guys see that?
Mhm.
Okay. So every time we finish J, we're gonna, instead of going back up, we're gonna finish this line and then go back up.
yeah, that's what
That's sort of the flow of the loop.
So that's just like an empty space.
That's a new line. So remember, that's what we noticed was the problem.
Oh,
with
okay, yeah.
that. So let's see if this works. Cool, right? So we go in, I is 1, J is going to be,
1.
okay, we're going to print 1 star, 1 star, cool. Can we check if J fits in the next time? It doesn't, and then we print the new one.
Okay.
And then where do we go?
The
Have a
first
sec.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the outside loop. And I is what?
2.
Okay. So I is 2. You're right. And now J starts back again at,
1.
yeah, so think of like J resetting now. Now that you changed I, J resets.
Yeah.
So J is 1. It prints the star once on the next line. Good, this is like on the right track, right?
Mhm.
So now what is J going to be after?
It's gonna be well.
Yeah, it's going to be 2. You're right. So J is going to be 2. It's going to print, what, is it going to print on the same line? Is it going to print on a different line?
On the same one.
On the same line. Oh, dude, yeah, it printed on the same line. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so now J is what?
3.
Well, now it goes back to the first one and repeats.
Yeah, so J, it doesn't enter the for loop, right?
Sorry?
It doesn't enter this for loop because it doesn't, like, it's not less than 3.
Yeah, it goes. So it doesn't enter it, but it just prints a star.
No, so if it doesn't enter, it's not going to print the star.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah, so J is 3. It doesn't fulfill this like condition, so then it like doesn't print. It like oversteps the for loop. It goes past the for loop, and it's gonna print the new line because that's the next line in after the for loop.
Okay.
So we got to the for loop. We saw that J was 3, and we're like, uh-oh, we can't enter it. So let's just go. What's next in our flow of our code? So what's next is this new line.
New line. Okay.
And then what happens after this?
It just prints the new. It goes to the next slide. Then it goes back to the first for loop.
Exactly. And now it goes back to I equals 3, right? Because it was just 2, so now it's going to be 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so I is 3. And then we're going to enter the for loop.
Yeah.
J resets.
Mhm.
Okay, so now it's going to print once. J is going to be 2. It's going to print once more. J is now going to be 3.
Yeah.
It's going to print once more, because remember I is 3, so it's going to keep going until J is less than 4.
Yeah.
Then it's going to print a third time, which is exactly what we want, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so do you see the pattern? I think this is, like, we got the program. So this is what happens at the end, which is exactly what we wanted to do. So good job, guys.
Yay.
Cool.
Yay.
nested for loops are definitely a lot tougher because you have to keep track of multiple things.
Definitely.
Does anyone have any questions?
I do not.
No.
Okay, good job for picking that up. As someone like nested for loops are definitely really tough.
Pretty cool.
Let's go over like 1 or 2 multiple choice questions, like practice APCS questions.
Okay.
Okay, so the reason I wanted to do nested for loops was because they definitely show up on the exam. So now that we know,
Okay, so now that we went over an example like that, do you guys think you could do this question on your own?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could just put type your answer into the chat box, that'd be great when you figure it out. So I'll give you guys a minute or so. Okay, we got one answer.
And we just type it into the thing, the chat?
Yes.
Okay. Um, oh, I think I submitted in the wrong chat.
So you're good. There's one that's on the side of the actual webinar on the right side. You can type it in there.
Okay. I just sent it to both. I don't know.
Okay, you're good. So I think you guys all say C, 25?
I put A.
But A, okay. So let's check. Let's check A first. Okay, so A is not correct because the second loop executes 5 times. For each time, this one executes 5 times. So what was your mindset when you chose A? What went through your head?
Well, I kind of didn't really know what I was doing because it wasn't like the other, I don't know, it wasn't like equal to 5 in any way, and I was kind of confused by that. And it didn't it didn't really establish that int I was equal to j or anything like that, so I kind of didn't really know. I just kind of guessed. I didn't really know what to do.
Okay, let's check the other answers. So you guys put C, and that's correct. So the reason this is correct is because it starts at 0, so it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is 5 times. And then the one inside also goes 5 times, so you multiply the 2 because this one it's 5 for every 5, if that makes sense.
yeah, so remember how we did in the other example that we just did? We said when I equals 0, you enter the for loop and you execute this for loop like that many times. So in this case, you execute this for loop 5 times, right? Like you're going to do j 5 times. So once you have done j 5 times, from like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you go back up to your outer for loop and then you increment I. So when I is 1, you're going to enter and do, remember we said J resets. J resets back to 0 in this case. So now you're going to do this inner for loop 5 more times. And then you're going to finish, and then you're going to go back up to the outer for loop. You'll increment I to the next one, and you'll do the J1 5 more times. So you multiply how many times you do I with how many times you do J in each I.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of?
Okay.
Okay. Let me know if you have questions. We can, this is pretty confusing. So let me change it up. If I did J is less than 1, how many times would this run?
Less than 1,
1, no, 5.
5.
Yeah.
Or like the second loop, or
Yeah, if I change the second loop to be
it would
1.
be 1. And then it goes
How many
back to the first loop.
Yeah. And how many times does the first for loop run?
5 times.
Yeah, so that would be 5. You're right.
Okay, let's try another multiple choice question. Who's the long one? Okay, so basically, just which of these, like out of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, what would print this? So,
Pop it.
let's see. I don't think there's one answer to this question.
Yeah. So let's just look at these 4 first.
Okay, let's look at these 4.
So this is sort of like the stars problem, right? But instead of printing stars, we're printing the number itself.
Yeah.
So take a few minutes, figure it, let's look at, work it out yourself, and then put your answer in the chat box.
Okay.
And I'm gonna zoom out a bit so you can see all the answers.
Okay, is that everyone? Okay, so let's do this. So you guys I got 3 A's and a 4. So let's try A. Correct. Good job, y'all. So, well, one of you guys that got it right, care to explain why it's right?
Like my thought process mostly like eliminate like the other ones and do like outs. That's elimination. Because I
Okay.
feel like I starts at 1
Mm-hmm.
and not 0 because we're hitting 1 at first. And then unlike the other ones that start with 0, so 5 is outs and 2 is outs. And then for the condition for the first for loop it would include 5 because we're putting it. So that was like why I chose it mostly.
Okay, yeah, that's a good way of doing it. Does that make sense to everyone else? Or do you have any questions?
I have a question about the J minus minus.
Okay, yeah, what's your question?
Just like what does that like mean?
Oh, what was that?
What does the J minus minus mean? Is it decreasing?
Yeah, it decreases by 1 instead of like plus plus equal increases by 1, minus minus decreases by 1.
So for the
What was that?
so for when J equals I, then J is greater than 0, J decreases.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so it's sort of the same thing. Like usually we've seen examples when J use the increment, but J can like the last part of the for loop can be just a condition or it can be something that gets your variable to your end condition. That's what the last part is. So usually we go from 0 to some bigger number, so we always increment the variable by 1.
Uh-huh.
But in this case, you're starting from a bigger number and then working your way downwards to 0. So that's why you decrease J by 1.
Okay.
So if we go through this, yeah. I is 1, and then we enter our for loop. So then what does J equal the first time?
1.
Okay, J equals 1, and then does that satisfy this condition?
Yes.
Okay, so then we print out I. So what is I?
1. So
I is 1, yeah. So then we print 1, and then we decrement J by 1. So what does J become?
0.
Yeah, so then we check, does it satisfy this end condition?
And we'll say no, and then it just prints another line.
Yeah, and so then what happens after it prints this line?
Then it goes back to the first for loop.
Yeah, it goes back to the first one, and what is I?
I is 2.
I is 2, and then so now we enter this for loop, and what is J?
J is 2 as well.
Yeah, J is 2. So now we're gonna do this body 2 times, right?
Yeah. I see.
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does now. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Do you guys have any questions?
Oh.
I don't think so.
Okay, this is definitely one of the harder topics. So for seeing it for the first time and like picking it up, definitely good job.